there. Today we're going to learn how to use the interactive number line as a strategy to find a product in multiplication. We know how to make arrays, equal groups, repeated addition to solve, but it seems to be that the number line is our least used strategy. So today I'm going to show you how to use this interactive tool, and hopefully you can add this strategy to your list of tools that you are comfortable with. Plus, having it interactive makes it a little more clear for you. Before we begin, let's go ahead, open this up, and see what each of these buttons mean. So we open up our interactive number line and we see that there are numbers down the side and numbers across the top. For the sake of today's lesson, we're not going to be using this button or this button, but I will show you what they mean. Here we start on the left-hand column, we'll go down. This button here, when we click it, shows you the halfway point on the number line. So between 0 and 50, of course, the button shows at 25. This is our number hop button. Once you click it, you'll see that it shows here, and it always starts at the halfway point. For the sake of today's lesson, I'm going to bring that down to 0 before we begin. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. All right. Then we have the zoom in button. We can come in on numbers and zoom out. We back out of them. That comes in handy once our range gets a little larger. And then we have our pencil, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but you use it to draw. You can erase drawings once you have them, but it's great for showing your work as you go. Here is your number range. So for the sake of today's lesson, and because it's multiplication, we're going to always start at 0. I'm just going to make this a shorter number line for right now. So I'm going to make it 0 to 10. There we go. Here we have what it's going to show our number skip hopping by. So you can show it by halves, by ones. I can show it by twos, by fives, all the way up to 100s. But let's keep it at ones because it's only up to 10. Here you can show the half numbers again. We have no need for that button today, so let's keep that off. Here, if you notice this little hop when I clicked that button before, it shows you the number 1 because it says we made 1 hop from the number 0 to 1. If you turn that toggle off, you no longer see that number. For the sake of today's lesson, because it's for multiplication, I want to keep that on because that's going to help us find our products. And here, this tool is good when you're teaching fractions on a number line because it shows you the space between 0 and 1. We can get into that tool when we get into multiplication, but we're not quite there, so let's leave that alone for now. All right, so how do we use this as a tool for multiplication? I'm going to start off by writing a multiplication problem that we're going to solve, which is 5 times 2, and you can show your work here. Of course, everybody finds the strategy that they like best. Some people love making arrays. Some like the skip counting songs. Some love equal groups. Whatever strategy it is that you love, stick with it, but add these to your pocket. Just keep them growing because some people end up really liking the number line once they get comfortable with it. This is just one that takes a little bit more to get comfortable with. All right, so 5 times 2. We're going to go ahead. So 5 times 2, I'm going to do 5 hops of 2. How do we do this? So here's another part of our number line. When I click this arch, so say I didn't want this anymore, that's gone. Now, when I click it, it shows back up again at the halfway point. I grab the left-hand button and I drag it down to 0. I want to bring this other one here. And here's 1, but I want to do 5 hops of 2. So I click over on the right-hand corner's box and I drag it over to the number 2. Now we have 1 hop. I could keep doing it this way where I click the button, drag it over. But this layered box here is basically like a copy paste. So I click it. There's my second hop of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just did 5 hops of 2. I start at 0 because it's multiplication. And the arrow points to our product, which is 10. 5 times 2 equals 10. Now, if I don't want that hop to show anymore, I always like to keep one hop on here so you don't have to keep dragging them back to 0. So now, if I wanted to do the turnaround fact, 2 times 5, the equal sign's a little, equal sign's a little sad looking, but 2 times 5, I come back over to my interactive number line. I always want to make sure that my arrow starts at 0 and 2 hops of 5. So I drag my hop, and you see it's showing half numbers, and that's a hop of 5. It shows it right here. How many times do I want to do it? Twice. So I click the basically copy and paste button once again, and I get the same product because it's just your turnaround fact, just like in math. And 2 hops of 5 give us 10, the same product. Awesome. So now what if, whoops, I didn't want that. See, when you get the accidental one, just stick it in the garbage. All right, so now I want to erase the work that I have here. You come down to the eraser, erase my drawing, yes, please. And now I want to do 7 times 3. I wonder what I'll have to change for this. I'll show you. 7 times 3. Okay, so we look at the numbers in our equation and we think, okay, 7, I want to do 7 hops. Our first number is how many hops, and our second number is going to be how many numbers we hop, which is going to be 3. So we come back to our interactive number line. I'm going to bring you back down to 1. Now, let's look at the numbers across the top and see if there's anything that we need to change. Anytime you zoom in or move the number line, the numbers here adjust themselves. Now, like I had said before, we always want it to start at 0, but 10 doesn't seem like a reasonable ending number, because if I'm doing 7 hops of 3, I know it's going to be larger than 10 because that's not even 2 hops away from 7. So let's go ahead and make our ending number 30. Let's see how that adjusts our number line. Now, the range that we see, and we can see that the number line continues on the left and the right, but here we can see our starting number is 0 and it goes to 30. However, it adjusted itself to now it's showing skip counting by 5. Because the range became larger, 1 is no longer an option unless I were to zoom in. So let's have it as skip counting by 2. And now, see that? Your number line shows up and shows you skip counting by 2 all the way up to 30. I'm going to keep the number line jumps on because I want to make sure I'm making hops of 3, especially since it's even numbers. So if you click your number line, you might say, wait a minute, but there's no 3 there. Well, we drag, and here, halfway between the 2 and the 4, we have our hop of 3. So referring back to our problem, we have 7 times 3. So we're doing a hop of 3 7 times. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, to show you how we know what this number is, you can zoom in, and now there may not be that number there, but now the option to show your numbers counting by 1 is available, and we can see that 7 times 3, the product is 21. All right, and now I'm going to show you 2 more problems, and then I'll send you to try these on your own. This is just a really great tool to help you see the actual hops and the skip counting. You know, we have our songs, we have our strategies, but again, this is just one that I've seen really isn't used enough and is such a great tool to have available. Now we have our, I'm going to erase my problem. Again, you click the eraser. Erase my drawing. Yes, please. Now I want to show you how we can make our range even larger. So this time, 5 times 10. Wait, 0 looks more like a pumpkin, but that's all right. Okay, 5 times 10. All right, so, well, our ending range certainly can't be 15. So let's make our ending number 60. Okay, so now it's showing us hops of 10s. We can adjust if we'd like. We certainly cannot show it by 1s, but we can show it by 10s. So let's do that. And we're going to do 5. So again, we focus in 5 hops of how many numbers? 10. Okay, so we go to our hop. Okay, and we move our first factor, and we want to make it a hop of 10. Now, I could have left the number line where it just showed 10s. Of course, that would make our skip counting easy. But for the sake of seeing the arch go over multiple numbers, let's show it by skip counting by 5s. So 5 hops of 10. I'm going to duplicate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 times 10, that last arrow points to your product. 5 times 10 is 50. All right. I hope everybody's getting kind of a sense of really how user-friendly this site is. It really, you play with it for a couple minutes and then you really get the hang of it. All right, last problem I'm going to show you is one of my favorite times tables, the 9s. So we're going to do 9 times 4. And you might say, I already know how to solve it. You taught us the hand trick. We know to take our hands from left to right and fold our 4th finger. Fingers to the left are the 10s. Fingers to the right are the 1s. But this is a great way to check yourself and double check your work, or do it this way and then use another strategy to check your answer. All right, so 9 times 4. We're going to come here. We should always change. Each problem we do, you'll notice that the range has changed, but that's okay. So I'm going to start at 0, and let's have our ending number back to 50, because you might not know what your product is going to be. All right. Do I want to have it as hops of 5s? Let's make it a smaller range on our number line and show it that it's hops of 2. All right, so we've got our number hops showing. Now, I'm going to bring it back to 1 for the sake of the lesson. And we wanted it to be 9. So 9 hops of how many? 4. All right. So I need to spread this hop to show 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's start to duplicate 9 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. If it had been an odd number, again, we could zoom in and see that number and change the range back to 1. However, the product for this answer is even, so we see that, and I can zoom in if you haven't gotten your eyes checked in a little while, and these numbers can be hard to see. We see that the product is 36. Again, I just want to review that this is a wonderful tool to help you with multiplication. It's going to come in handy again once fractions are on the table. And I just hope that this lesson helps you get a little more familiar with a visual representation of how to solve multiplication on a number line. Thank you so much.